Kevalam Baba Nam Kevalam.
Namaskar, everybody, and welcome. Nice to be with you again this morning, or sorry, this morning here where you are. It could be some other time of the day. I'm just going to put something here. Yes. So I hope everybody's fine, and I hope you're looking forward to another exploratory meditation. We are in the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the sublime layer of the mind, a place of great subtlety. And last week we looked at one of the attributes of this layer of the mind, which is viveka, or discernment, the ability to see life as it is, to differentiate that which is supportive of the spiritual journey and that which is not. And today I'd like to look at the other characteristic of this layer of the mind, which is vairagya, and I put it up there on the screen. Translated, this is non-attachment. Non-attachment. Actually, one of the nice definitions of this word is to make the proper use of something, which I find quite intriguing. Let's give an example. Actually, my guru gives this example of alcohol. So one can use alcohol in a positive way, say to clean the skin before one operates on the skin. Conversely, if one looks at causes of preventable death here in the United States, alcohol abuse is the third cause. 90-odd thousand people a year die from alcohol abuse. So we see the same item, alcohol, which can be used constructively or it can be used destructively. So this then is one way of looking at vairagya, how to use everything in a way that's constructive. And that could be any object in one's house, the house itself, how to support all the people in one's life, how to sweeten relationship, given that we human beings are interacting with the planets, with objects, with people all the time. So how can the way we interact be the most supportive possible? And I think it's really nice to use this principle with things that one doesn't necessarily own, right? We do a very good job of cleaning our own car, cleaning our own house. But what about other people's cars, other people's houses, or the planet itself? So in other words, we should see ourselves as custodians. I'm a custodian of everything that I own. I'm a custodian of the planet upon which I live. And I should be responsible to make sure that places, people, planet are taken care of well. In order to follow Vairagya, one has to be strong. I guess that's why it's a characteristic of one of the more subtle layers of the mind. It's not easy to practice non-attachment. We human beings get attached. I mean, in a way, attachment is positive. If you look at the formative years of our lives, we need positive attachment. We need the security of the relationship with mother or father, with siblings. It's extremely important. The danger is when the attachment is to something which is inherently unhealthy. I was listening to a radio broadcast the other day, and they were talking about this one particular woman. The broadcast was talking about addiction. And so this one particular woman, she suffered from lung cancer. She was in remission, and she was again smoking. So there was such an attachment to the cigarettes, and they were questioning her about this, given her past experience with the cancer. And she said, "My cigarettes are my only friends. I don't have any other friends." So that's obviously quite sad, that the cigarettes are all that gives her comfort in life. So this is coming from a place of weakness, where there's a dependency on something like cigarettes or alcohol or drugs or whatever, in order to give us a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning, a sense of happiness. I just finished reading a really interesting novel. It's called Midnight Library. It's written by an author, a British author, Matt Haig, which is also discussing this very issue. So the woman who is focused upon in this novel is extremely unhappy with her life. She feels inadequate. Nothing is working. Her profession is not working. The relationships are not working. The place of stay is horrible. And so she commits suicide. Right after the act of committing suicide, she goes to the Midnight Library, which is basically a place from which one can explore all of the other lives one would have lived if one had taken a different decision at one time in one's life, right? Destiny results from our decision making to a great extent. And so she went through maybe, I don't know, like 20, 30, 40 different lives before she finally realized that her perfect life was the one that she committed suicide in. She just had to see things in a more positive way, coming from a place of being sufficient and not insufficient, sufficient and not deficient. And so she had a chance to go back to the life. And she changed her perspective on life. So she was friendly to everybody. She made good use of the possessions she had in life. She had a more positive attitude towards her place of work, and everything started to change when her attitude changed. So then Vairagya, non-attachment, is coming to life from a place of sufficiency. That's to say, what do I have around me now that I can utilize to build something positive, as opposed to looking at what one doesn't have, right? The deficiencies in one's life, which then become a cause of maybe depression. Non-attachment, vairagya, is obviously related to the ability to let go. But it doesn't mean abandoning life. It doesn't mean running away from responsibility. It doesn't mean going to a cave and meditating for the rest of one's life. It means engaging in life as a human being to the fullest possible extent without getting attached. Of course, that's easier said than done. There's a really nice anecdote from Buddhism whereby two monks are arriving at a river. And there's a woman there, a young woman, who can't swim, who's a bit perplexed. She doesn't know how to cross. So one of the monks picks her up and carries her across the river and puts her down at the other side. So the monks continue walking, and one monk is like looking at the other. The younger monk is looking at the older one who carried the woman. Like he's shocked. I mean, and then he says, "How is this possible? You took a vow that you would never touch a woman, and there you were carrying this woman across the river. I mean, you just broke a vow. This is. I'm going to tell the abbot." So the older monk who had carried the woman said, "Well, yes, I carried the woman as an act of service, but I put her down at the bank of the river, and you are still carrying her in your mind, even though we're a kilometer from the river." So this is the ability to, again, do something proper, something appropriate in life, and then let go. I'm laughing because it's easy to say. It's not so difficult to put in. It's not so easy to put into practice because we are human. And we do get attached. So I think vairagya is embracing the messiness of life, right? We are human, and we do have a range of emotions, and we do have a range of karma that we still need to express. And so as we go through life, we're going to make a mess. We're going to do things that we maybe wish we hadn't. But this is part of living. And I think this is part of learning how to let go, in that we have to embrace the failures. We have to embrace the mistakes. And we utilize those failures, we utilize those mistakes as a way to learn about ourselves so that we can move forward in a more constructive way. And so then we come at life from a place of courage. One who is fearful is going to run away. One who is fearful is going to retreat into a very small space of life. And that person might hide behind the theory of non-attachment. But actually, that's a negation of life. To be positive with life, we engage from a spirit of compassion. And we engage knowing we're going to make mistakes, knowing we are going to err, but that is part of the process of learning. I'm going to close this little introduction with a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, which I think is really beautiful and really sums up this principle that one should love in such a way that the other becomes free. Love in such a way that the other becomes free. Often when we love, we want to possess, right? This is my pet. This is my car. This is my significant other. It's all about me, as opposed to loving in such a way that one liberates the other. And by liberating the other, one will liberate oneself. So this then, I think, really captures the spirit of non-attachment. It's an engagement. It's love. To love, one engages. Yet, it's a selfless engagement in that one wants whatever one loves, including oneself, to become free. So there we are. All right. Let us chant. So I normally try to explain the chant from the perspective of the topic of the day. So Baba is sweetness. It's something sweet that one feels inside. The inner God, the inner guru, if you will. And to practice non-attachment, one has to be strong. One has to have a firm foundation. And that foundation could be the Baba within, the sweetness within, the soul, if you will, within. And when we are rooted in that sweetness, everything else is easy. When we are coming from the soul, everything is easy. When the house of our life is built upon our deepest consciousness, everything is easy. And Kevalam is the infinite. It's through the sweetness within, it's through the guru within that we can connect to the infinite, in that sweetness is seen as the touch of the infinite upon the individual. And when we connect with the infinite, everything changes. We no longer need the cigarettes to be our friend. We no longer need the alcohol to be our support. We no longer need the drugs to be our escape, because the infinite is nourishing all aspects of ourselves. Abhanam Kevala 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 Pavanam Kevalam 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 Pavanam Kevala 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 Pavanam Kevala. In this meditation, we'll have a reflection and then we'll go into the meditation. And the reflection we'll be doing from the Anahata chakra, the heart chakra. All right. Let's attune our awareness to the breath. The breath as rhythmically comforting. Let's be with the exhalations to deepen our presence within. Imagine that your exhalation carries you to your Anahata chakra, your heart space. And imagine you have settled in the heart space using your imagination to visualize it in some way. And let's begin the reflection. Imagine your material possessions. and reflect upon how good you are as a custodian of those possessions, utilizing them for good, with the understanding that one day they will leave you. Nothing continues with us after we pass away. Just reflect on how you are utilizing possessions without attachment. Next to planet Earth herself, we will surely leave the planet one day. But reflect upon how good of a custodian of the planet you are. Even though we don't possess the planet, we still care for the planet. Now reflect upon your main actions in life, maybe your profession, the things you do. And how far you engage with those actions from a place of constructive positivity. With sincerity. And how far you can be non-attached to the outcomes. There's success, there's failure. Can you accept the outcomes with sincere effort? Think about the people you don't like. And how maybe they can also be our teachers. In other words, not to push away that which we don't like, but to learn from it. And finally, reflect upon people you love. And whether you love these people in order to make them free. Your love is liberating for the other. With these next exhalations, release the imagery, the impressions, and settle into the illuminated heart space. And try to feel here the Baba of the Bhavanam Kevalam, the sweetness of the deep inner self that is a loving guide. And imagine from the heart, you can turn towards the soul, the deepest sense of identity, the part of self that is eternally present. And feel that you are moving closer and closer to this deepest self. And that this deepest self is the touch of the Kevalam, the infinite, the one without a second. As you exhale, feel that everything you are is dissolving into everything that is. The finite dissolves into the infinite. Like honey absorbed in hot water. Feel free to use your mantra at this point. You could use Bhavanam Kevalam on the inhalation repeating Baba Nam, feeling the sweetness of self, on the exhalation, Kevalam, dissolving the sweetness of self into the infinite consciousness. In silence now. Imagine you are sitting in your Anahata chakra, feeling as if you are an expression of that universal consciousness. From this feeling, this perspective, once again, connect to the possessions in your life and how you can be a good custodian of those possessions. Reflect upon how you tread upon the earth, and the actions you perform, what you do in life, how do those actions look from this magnanimous perspective? The people you don't like, does anything change when you observe them from a place of expansiveness? And the people you love, are you loving them to set them free? On the one hand, feeling the self that is fully engaged in life, and on the other hand, the self that is deeply rooted in spirit. And how these two aspects support each other. Become aware of where you are sitting, and when ready, please slowly open your eyes. So that's the meditative journey. Feel free to give any comments, any feelings, any insights. There's an image, I guess, an analogy that's given regarding non-attachment. You know, we have frying pans. They're non-stick frying pans. And so we cook something in the frying pan, but it doesn't stick. And similarly in life, we engage in such a way that we don't get stuck, we don't cling to things. And using this frying pan analogy, you know, we use Teflon, right, to make sure that it doesn't stick. And so once we've cooked something, then we clean it and it's back to its original state, right? You would never know looking at the frying pan that something was cooked. And ideally, that's us in life as human beings, that we engage without being affected. We are in the world doing everything we can, but we are not of the world. An interesting dichotomy, an interesting balance. Engagement, yet detachment at the same time. Oh, yeah, Hare said something nice here, that in relation to love to set free, he had this beautiful image of releasing his children into the world, like releasing butterflies into nature, that one offers, you know, very gentle support as they're going out into the world. And I think, yeah, this is a good example of being non-attached, raising children. Imagine, I can only imagine, I don't have children, but all the energy and all the love and the struggle that it takes to raise children, and then one releases them. And that's so beautiful, right? For the parent to give with such sincerity, and then to not want to possess, but to release. Sometimes it happens in relationships, right? It's clear that maybe the people engaged in a relationship are not meant for each other, or maybe the time is over, and therefore one lets go. One lets go with joy, not with desperation. So this is an art to living, to utilize something with one's full sincerity and then let it go. In fact, the Rajneesh, you know, the somewhat controversial guru, he said something interesting one time. He said, when the musician has perfected his or her art, his or her music, he or she throws away the instrument. In other words, even when you get to that level of perfection, that level of excellence, you're ready just to let it go. Because sometimes, you know, with the commercialism of our art, that the artist is performing for the audience. It's an attachment to the adulation of the audience. I want to make my audience happy so they like me. That's dangerous. Or in a relationship, I want to make this person happy so she likes me. So it's like a clinging. Anyway. And George felt the same thing. Yeah, George's daughter is going to university soon, so she'll be leaving home, and so it's the same thing. I can only imagine the mixed emotions and feelings, and yet the beauty of having supported somebody in the formative journey, so they can now stand alone in life and flourish. All right, very good. So. Next week, there won't be a session. I'm going camping. I need a break, so I'm going to drive off with a tent, and for 6 nights I'll be camping in different places. So we won't meet next week. We'll meet the week after next. So I wish you a good 2 weeks, and I look forward to our next session when we gather again. So namaskar to everybody. Enjoy enjoy the act of living, the art of living, the messiness of being human on this planet Earth in all its glory. Bye-bye.